connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Good morning, Idaho. I'm neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, and we've got a lot in store for you today from our large team of neighborhood reporters. Our Joey Martin following up on the quadruple murder in the Magic Valley as we learn more about who the victims were, and the family of the suspect issues an apology. Plus, coming up in our next half hour, a bizarre feral cat problem for Boise's new soccer club. I'll show you the scene at the Western Idaho Fairgrounds while officials try to find a solution that works for everyone. More on all that coming up. But first, we're going to take it over to our Sophia Cruz for a look at the weather. Sophia, I'm bracing for some heat this weekend. What do we have in store?
Yeah, very hot weather and dry weather as we head into the weekend. So again, just a heads up, we had that cooler afternoon yesterday, but we were still sitting in the upper 80s, lower 90s. We will see the heat build and climb as we make our way into Sunday and even next week. But first, I want to talk about the wildfire smoke. We haven't seen any large wildfires here in Idaho. However, there is going to be wildfire smoke covering from some of our neighboring states and also for some larger fires up towards our north. It does start to make its way into the Treasure Valley late evening Friday and then into Saturday morning. If you're in our mountains and our east and west central mountains, you may notice it looks a little bit hazy out there, but our air quality still looks good, so we're still good on that end. And as we head through our morning, it's still a nice cool start to the day, so we're kicking off 10 a.m. mid 70s, by 12 o'clock lower 80s, upper 80s though as you make your way into 2 p.m. with plenty of sunshine today. Short sleeves are going to be your best friend, and lighter colored clothing as well as sunglasses, and really just anything to help people get some shade out there, especially as things ramp up into the weekend. Riley.
Thank you, Sophia. I'll be sure to have my sunscreen on hand all weekend long. So we're turning now to our top story, the quadruple homicide in the Magic Valley. As we've reported, the suspect is in custody, but his family now speaking out. Our Joey Martin reports with the latest.
The family members of a murder suspect accused of killing 4 people in the Minnecaja region are issuing an apology to the families of the victims. I'm your Burley neighborhood reporter Joey Martin, and while law enforcement is keeping details limited, they have officially released the names of 2 people killed in Burley.
We're learning more about the 56-year-old man charged with killing 4 people in 3 locations across 2 southern Idaho counties. In response to the tragic events, the daughters of Benjamin Naylor issued a family statement on social media. As daughters, we feel our father finally lost his lifelong battle with a very severe mental illness that plagued him and our family throughout most of his life. The statement ends with, "We would again like to express our deepest condolences for the victims and their families, as well as the entire community that has been affected by the events of this past week." We are also learning more about some of the victims police say he killed. As we reported, authorities arrested 56-year-old Benjamin Naylor on Tuesday in Lincoln County. Police tell us they found a female victim in a home in Rupert, a second victim in a vehicle in Minidoka County, and the third and fourth victims inside a Burley home. The latter 2 now identified as Kelly and Donna Jenks. On Thursday, I spoke with a member of the Jenks family who told me they are still processing this tragedy, but want to thank the entire community for the enormous support they've received over the last 48 hours. If you would like to support their family, you can find a link to a GoFundMe page on our website.
Naylor is booked into the Cassia County Jail on 4 counts of first-degree murder and is being held without bond. Preliminary hearings are set in both counties, Cassia County on July 18th and Minidoka County on July 23rd. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you any new details right here on Idaho News 6. Reporting in Burley, I'm your neighborhood reporter Joey Martin, Idaho News 6.
Boise School District says signs with the words "everyone is welcome here" can still be displayed by teachers in the district. You'll remember the classroom poster controversy just a few months ago when West Ada officials demanded that middle school teacher Sarah Anama take down inclusivity posters in her classroom, claiming they were too political. A demand that sparked national outrage and led to the passage of Idaho House Bill 41, which is meant to ensure that flags and banners displayed in schools do not promote political, religious, or ideological ideological viewpoints. Boise School District writing in a memo to parents. The Everyone is Welcome Here sign affirms a foundational principle of public education, that every student, regardless of their background, is legally entitled to dignity, respect, and a sense of belonging in their school community. Creating an environment where students feel welcome and affirmed is not an ideology, it's our legal duty.
A decade later, and still no answers in the disappearance of Dior Kuntz.
My 2-year-old son, we can't find him.
You'll remember he's the little boy who vanished while camping with his family in eastern Idaho back in 2015.
He was wearing cowboy boots, a blue pair, pajama pants, and a camel jacket.
Investigators have scoured the Timber Creek campground in Lemhi County dozens of times, but despite extensive search efforts, including divers in the nearby creek and reservoir, and even multiple private investigations, Dior's disappearance remains a mystery.
How plausible is it that a 2-year-old in oversized cowboy boots could make it outside of the perimeter on his own where you searched?
It's possible. There's always that possibility or that chance. Yeah, we can't rule it out for sure.
Dior's parents say they left him at the campsite with his great-grandfather so they could go explore. But Dior's great-grandfather thought the boy was with them. A fourth adult camper, the grandfather's friend, was off fishing. When the parents returned, they say Dior was gone.
Somewhere between where Grandpa was sitting in a lawn chair and where the parents walked up to the end of this campground, which is roughly 100 yards, is the location they claim that he was last seen in.
Investigators initially found no evidence of foul play, but the then sheriff later named the parents as suspects, saying their account of what happened was inconsistent over time. The parents have denied any wrongdoing. The current sheriff says everyone who was there that day is a person of interest. Over the years, many theories and rumors have swirled, but to this day, we have no answers. If you want to learn more, our partners at East Idaho News have a deep dive into the case, including Nate Eaton's complete interview with 2 of the sheriffs involved over the years. Look for the link at idahonews6.com.
Rapid growth, capturing the spotlight at yesterday's State of Our City address in Caldwell. Mayor Jerem Wagner says Caldwell's population has jumped more than 65% in just the last decade, resulting in thousands of new jobs and a big boost to the local economy. The city also honoring standout employees, including 3 lifeguards who recently saved young swimmers at the city pool.
This is why we are here today. This is what we are celebrating. This is the state of our city, where we care for each other, we look out for each other, and yes, we even save each other.
Mayor Wagner also touted efforts to lower taxes for property owners.
The Downtown Eagle Mobility Project is inching closer and closer to the finish line, with the second to last portion of the project being started by ACHD. I'm your Eagle Neighborhood reporter, Alexander Huddleston, speaking to one local business that's being blocked off by the current closure at the intersection of Eagle Road and Old State.
Just been torn up for so long. We can't wait to see it put back together even better.
ACHD's Downtown Eagle Mobility Project has been condensing lanes and closing roads for almost 2 years now. But the end is finally in sight for business owners like Joel Anderson of Bodacious Pig Barbecue.
I've been stressing out about the road closure and the construction all year, especially when it's coming to right in front of us.
ACHD has shut down all traffic through the intersection of Eagle and Old State to update the directions for the intersection.
So if you're going to be going westbound Old State Street, when you get to Eagle Road, you'll no longer be able to head southbound there. You'll have to continue west on State and utilize Old Park. Big change for Eagle Road, you're going to have 2 northbound lanes all the way to Aikens. From there, it'll have go into a right, straight, and left.
Another route to use if going south will be through 2nd Street and Plaza, or the newly punched through Aikens Street. But for now, detours are directing cars away from the area.
Say, hey, thanks for coming, you guys. Appreciate it.
Which Anderson says has not really impacted business at all.
Happy customers.
Anderson says ACHD has made the entire process very easy for the downtown areas.
They meet with all the businesses once a month, so I've been able to participate in that and voice my concerns. ACHD has also put up signs for us, which is fantastic.
Anderson explained parking may be a challenge, as it always is in downtown Eagle, but it's worth it to help support the local businesses.
We have growth around here, so we're dealing with it. The growth has been beneficial for us. We've been open for 12 years. And it's, every year it just keeps getting better and better.
ACHD says they are hopeful this portion of the project will be finished before schools are open and that the overall project will be done somewhere mid to late fall. I'm your Eagle neighborhood reporter, Alexander Huddleston, for Idaho News 6.
Protesters clashing with federal agents raiding farms in Southern California while the governor and locals blast the raids as inhumane. Details after the break.
Taking a look at your national headlines this morning, President Trump is headed to Texas today to survey the damage from recent flash flooding. More than 100 people died in the storms over the holiday weekend, including dozens of children. Trump has pledged to provide relief to Texas to help the state recover from the devastating floods. And earlier this week, he signed a major declaration of disaster for Kerr County. The visit comes as the Trump administration faces continued criticism over cutbacks at the National Weather Service and National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, as well as uncertainty over the future of FEMA. A dramatic escalation in the on-again, off-again trade war with Canada. President Donald Trump threatened a 35% tariff on goods imported from America's northern neighbor. Canada is one of America's most important trading partners and is the top buyer of U.S. exported goods. Trump says any trading partner that did not receive a letter or reach a framework agreement will be charged a blanket tariff rate up to 20%. And the Department of Health and Human Services is cutting undocumented immigrants' access to several health care programs. The move will impact tens of millions of people a year as undocumented immigrants will no longer have access to Head Start or the Community Health Center program. Head Start provides education and health care assistance to children. Federal law still requires hospitals to treat any patient suffering a medical emergency, regardless of their immigration status. Now to the latest uproar over President Trump's immigration crackdown. Protesters clashed with federal agents raiding 2 farms in Southern California. The governor is blasting the raids as, quote, inhumane. But the Trump administration is not backing down. ABC's Lionel Moyes has the latest.
This morning, the tense confrontation. Protesters attacking federal vehicles after immigration raids in California. The masked agents had shown up at a cannabis farm in Ventura County, northwest of LA.
They have a lot of personnel. I think there's like almost 100 people down there. Yeah, they got K9 and everything.
Men seen lined up against the wall with heavily armed agents and at least one person appearing to be under arrest. Federal agents setting off smoke canisters to disperse the crowds.
Right now they're popping off tear gas canisters and folks are just running like crazy and it's just chaos out here.
Another immigration raid unfolding in nearby Santa Barbara County at a second farm owned by the same company. California Governor Gavin Newsom's office calling the raids inhumane, saying agents continue to detain U.S. citizens and racially profile Americans, ripping families apart and disappearing parents and workers into cruel federal detention centers. President Trump's border czar defiant as he addressed the clashes.
Look, I've said this from day one. They can protest all they want, but if they cross the line, they're going to be arrested and they're going to be prosecuted.
The raids leaving communities on edge. A Southern California Catholic bishop telling his parishioners to skip Mass if they are fearful of ICE. In New York City, a youth baseball coach says ICE agents approached kids as they were practicing, asking questions. And on Long Island, a 20-year-old student and her mother taken to an ICE detention facility one day before her college graduation. Back to the issue of raids on farms. This week, the Agriculture Secretary suggested Medicaid recipients could replace deported farm workers. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
More discussions about the Ford Idaho Center, and this time I'm speaking with the venue's management.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
6:18 is your time, and thanks for starting your Friday morning with us. It's finally Friday, the weekend is here, but that also means the heat is going to start to slowly ramp up as we make our way into our weekend. As far as the morning goes, it's a beautiful start to our day. I'm taking you to Twin Falls this morning where the sunrise looks gorgeous. If you're in this area, take a moment to enjoy it. It looks really good out here. Temperatures also feel really nice and cool, 68 waking up here. Across the area, you'll notice that within the past day, we are looking at temperatures already climbing. Now, it's not very much just yet, but it is a slight change in our morning lows. So a lot of these areas about 1 to 2 degrees, some areas slowly changing, but either way, the good news about the mornings is that it's a cool start. So if you're getting that early morning walk in, or maybe you're taking your dog for a walk, it's going to be the morning times best to do it, especially because that pavement gets so hot in the afternoon, and you just also feel like you're on an armpit by the time you see those 90s. But you've got mid 60s waking up in your valley floors, 49 in Stanley, 54 for our friends in McCall. You may grab a light jacket this morning, but you will not need one for the afternoon, especially as temperatures start to gradually rise into the weekend, and we are going to see some triple digits return. For today, that's not the case, though. You've got lower 90s across your valley floors. A cool spot on our valley floors looks between Baker City and Jordan Valley, between 87 there. Further up in our mountains, mid 80s between Fairfield and Pine, so looking also pretty good. Now, with temperatures rising throughout our afternoons, especially for today, just that friendly sun colored clothing and shade breaks when you can, especially as you head out into that late afternoon and evening. I know happy hour is popular, especially as things heat up, but if you sit on the patio again, shade is going to be your best friend. Between 2 and 4 o'clock today, it could only take you about 10 minutes to burn. So you got to really think about that, guys. That's not very long, especially if you're maybe just going for that quick walk. You'll notice throughout our afternoons, there's not very much change, especially into this evening, but by tomorrow morning, it's going to be really nice and quiet out there. Maybe a few lingering clouds over eastern Idaho. Breezy winds will follow us through our weekend with gusts anywhere upwards towards 20 miles per hour, but it'll aid in making you feel a little bit cooler into our afternoons. However, it's still going to just overall be hot, so still prepare for the heat. By Sunday and through 9 o'clock, again, not very many changes. It's going to be a good weekend, though, for boating, so if you do have a boat and you're planning to head on to Lucky Peak by Saturday, mid-90s, so that's a good way to cool off, especially because that water's so nice and cool. Just make sure you're hydrating and wearing that sunscreen again. If you're heading up to Sun Valley this weekend, another cooler spot, and you need to maybe just get away from the heat, I can't blame you. You've got mid-80s into your Sunday. By next week, you see this stretch of lower 80s to mid-80s, so pretty comfortable throughout there and into your weekend. We will see things up, and triple digits will be in really our peripheral pretty soon, 100 degrees, and by Sunday next week, we have both the lower 90s to upper 90s. So lots of sunshine, but also lots of heat.
I'm learning more about the possibility of the College of Western Idaho being the new owners of the Ford Idaho Center. I'm your Nampa neighborhood reporter Keith Burrell speaking with the Event Center's management about the ongoing discussions, as well as how the new auditorium district plays into the mix. Nampa voters approved the formation of the auditorium district well before the news broke of the potential transfer of the city asset to the college next door. The city and CWI tell me that the discussions of the conveyance began about 9 months ago. I've spoken with some who say they may not have voted in favor of the auditorium district if the Idaho Center was owned by CWI.
So there's an independent auditorium district board who's in control of those dollars, and they can choose to spend those dollars however they see fit at the Ford Idaho Center and Nampa Civic Center.
The auditorium district, in full control of district funds, gathers taxes from Nampa hotels that go toward the 2 entertainment hosts in the city. If the ownership transfer happens, the 2 venues receiving taxed income would be owned by 2 different organizations. I asked Andrew what that relationship would look like.
It's a good question. Ultimately, it's still up to the board. So I'll still be doing my due diligence and making recommendations to that board. Yes, it does add more hands in the pot, but ultimately it's still just 2 facilities and the needs haven't really changed.
And that auditorium district, recently approved by Nampa voters, is collecting taxes from the hotel rooms, and they should be seeing their first check at the end of this month. From Nampa, I'm your Nampa neighborhood reporter Keith Burrell for Idaho News 6.
In Buell, Cloverleaf Creamery is offering up a sweet reprieve from those sweltering summer days. As temperatures peak into those triple digits, the need to cool off with a sweet treat is more important now than ever before. And over in Buell, one local creamery is offering up that cure. I'm your Buell neighborhood reporter, Joey Martin, and in this week's segment of Made in Idaho, I take you to Cloverleaf Creamery.
Every single batch is handmade and hand assembled just right here on the other side of the wall.
Specializing in milk, Cloverleaf knows their dairy. And since 2007, the beloved creamery in the heart of Buell has been supplying the masses with their quality Idaho-made products.
The dairy farm is 5 miles away from here. The production plant is right here. We deliver within 120 miles of our home base.
While Cloverleaf milk is enough to get you in the door, the ice cream will make you never want to leave.
Interestingly enough, the best seller overall is vanilla. Everybody loves vanilla ice cream.
Obviously, Cloverleaf features the classics, but there are always a few shop favorites.
The most requested popular flavor here is probably the Cowboy Crunch or the Huckleberry. Everybody's such a huge fan of that. It's such an Idaho thing to have Huckleberry ice cream.
As for the freshness of the icy sweet treats, it's made literally 40 feet away.
We start with a bulk tank full of raw milk, and we separate the cream out of it and add in the sugars and the powders and all of the inclusions, all of the syrups and candies, the churns back there. It's all made by hand. It's all stirred in from scratch.
If you want to get your hands on some Cloverleaf products, check your local stores.
Our storefront, obviously we sell a lot here, but we also have a truck on the road to Boise 3 times a week. We're up to Sun Valley once a week, and obviously here in the Twin Falls area, we've got somewhere around 50 or 60 customers, I think.
Besides the main location here in Buell, Cloverleaf also operates a shop in downtown Twin Falls. Both locations are open 7 days a week. Reporting in Buell, I'm your neighborhood reporter, Joey Martin, Idaho News 6.
In Garden City, a decades-old feral cat colony could be at risk as caretakers face new hurdles.
Now we'll look outside from the Treasure Valley Chevy Dealers Tower Cam.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Welcome back to Good Morning Idaho. I'm Riley Shoemaker, and we still have lots to get to from our large team of neighborhood reporters. Our new star neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark, makes her Idaho News 6 debut and gives us a look at the damage and recovery efforts from Wednesday night's storm. Plus, our Steve Dent brings us a cautionary tale after a woman was rescued out of the South Fork of the Payette River. Details on the rescue and what boaters should be aware of later on. So we'll get to all those stories and more in a bit, but first we're going to bring in our Sophia Cruz for a look at the weather. Sophia, what are we looking at for the weekend? I know it's going to be hot, but was that storm on Wednesday sort of a moment in time, or are we going to expect more of that?
Well, now that's in our rear view. The bigger picture as we head into the weekend, Riley, is going to be all about heat. So get used to us saying it's hot just in different ways. Now, as of this morning, that's not the case. It's still nice and cool. So if you're planning to take your doggo for a walk, or maybe you're just getting that early morning walk or jogging, the morning times are the best times to do it. Temperatures sitting about 63 over downtown. The sunrise is starting, and it's a gorgeous day over here. Now, as we head into the later end of the day, I do want to talk about wildfire smoke, not because there's any large and super active wildfires here in Idaho, but you are going to notice that there are some up north. They are small, but it is going to contribute to some light smoke over our east and west central mountains, and then it pushes into the Treasure Valley later into the evening and eventually starts to spread over into eastern Idaho. So just something to give you a heads up about, especially if you're looking up at the sky this weekend, wondering why it's a little hazy. Either way, as we head into Saturday and Sunday, temperatures are hovering near triple digits, and we reach 100 degrees by Sunday. So it's going to be a pretty hot weekend here, Riley.
Thanks, Sophia, for that update. I'll be sure to have my sunscreen on hand all weekend long. So now we're going to take it over to Garden City, where dozens and dozens of feral cats born and raised at the Western Idaho Fairgrounds are facing an uncertain future. A long-standing colony is still on site, but recent changes have made it harder for caretakers to provide daily necessities. I spoke with the people who have been caring for these cats for over a decade. A long-established colony of feral cats, many of them fixed and monitored by volunteers, lives within the grounds of what will soon be the home of Athletic Club Boise's new pro soccer stadium.
When I started, Garden City Community Cats Project were literal kittens
every season were dead on the ground, starving cats. That's what I needed to take care of.
Donna Brown founded the Garden City Community Cats Project in 2016. Now more than 40 volunteer caregivers are part of the group, including Tracy and Terry Brott.
She had over 200 cats that she was feeding. She has brought this down from 200 to less than 50.
According to Brown, the Brotts know every cat here. And without the work of volunteers like them, just 2 cats could have easily multiplied to thousands in 5 years.
Terry and Tracy can't get to their cats.
At least not until now. Terry Brott didn't want to be on camera, but tells me they did lose access to feeding the cats in late June, after fencing was put up ahead of Athletic Club Boise's June 27th brand reveal event. He said property managers working with the stadium group told them to remove the cats' food and water bowls. And until just a few days ago, they said they couldn't reach the cats at all. But now he says they're allowed to feed them in a secured area. Athletic Club Boise tells me they are working closely with Terry and Tracy to find a solution that works for everyone, to keep these cats from dying, but also to keep the population from quickly spreading. Athletic Club Boise's first soccer game is set for March, but volunteers warn that without immediate support, new challenges could arise with the cat population. I'm Garden City neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, Idaho News 6.
The sun is out and the sky is clear, but on Wednesday night, not so much. I'm your Star neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark, and I spoke with this Star homeowner who is now dealing with the damage of Wednesday's windstorm.
Wind was very high, and I heard a large crash.
Around 9 o'clock Wednesday night, Vicki Miller was surprised to see branches from her 75-year-old sycamore tree crash through her roof and into her attic, an area she's in the process of renovating.
That was going to be my ensuite with my my big clawfoot tub.
One branch broke a 2x4 support beam. Another still hangs from the ceiling, prompting a call to her insurance appraiser.
I'll make sure, obviously, get you taken care of, right?
Well, thank you.
Next on the to-do list, getting the tree removed. That's where Rowdy Akers and his crew come in, helping several neighbors on this same street.
It's a great neighborhood. They all call me. I really appreciate all of them. So I'll probably trim it down to there, rake it all up, clean it up like we were never here.
As for Vicki, she's called this house home for the last 45 years. And when it comes to storm damage, she has experience, with a long career working in emergency management.
I was working. I've been all over the United States working here, hurricanes and different disasters. And I would have the National Weather Service send out a notice of high winds that are coming and to what magnitude, so that maybe I could lock down some things that needed to and prepare my animals.
For tips from experts on how to maintain your trees, head to idahonews6.com. I'm your Star neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark, Idaho News 6.
We just finished the 19th annual community baby shower, and each organization got a large donation because of you.
So we're able, we were on the verge of closing one of our after-school programs, and now we don't have to.
They are going to be super excited when we get to come back into session and let them know.
It is going to go really far, and it's going to be able to help us expand what we're able to offer.
It was a great surprise, and thanks to the community for supporting our program and all of these programs.
That's a wrap on the annual community baby shower. In total, together we raised $96,036 together. Sophia Cruz, coming from Albertsons in Boise.
In Twin Falls, the vast majority of commercial signage you're going to see is going to be in commercially zoned areas like this stretch of Blue Lakes Boulevard North. But you could start seeing more commercial advertisements in residentially zoned areas. I'm your Twin Falls neighborhood reporter Lori Nettleton, and decades-old code about what kinds of commercial advertisements can be displayed in residential areas is all about to change.
When the law was put into place, the council decided to not have any more off-site commercial signage within the city.
You don't see a ton of billboards in Twin Falls. There's a reason for that.
We went through a process in the early 2000s to make off-site or off-premise signage not permitted any longer.
Decades ago, Twin Falls tried to limit visual blight of billboards and commercial signs. Under current code, a business can display signs only on the property that commercial activity takes place. Same goes for residentially zoned properties. A commercial service that takes place at that residential property is A-OK. Real estate signs, for example. But a sign elsewhere referring to that property is not.
Except for one exemption, which was given to the realtors for their open house signs.
This week, Planning and Zoning held a hearing on a proposed update to the code on signs. It reduced 65 pages of code down to 16. It also reduced 41 types of signs down to 8. A big part of this simplification is making all messages equal and to conform to a 2015 Supreme Court precedent that equated temporary signs to free speech.
Cities are not allowed to regulate the message on the sign, but they can regulate time, place, and manner. So when it's up, where it's located, and how large the sign is, that's where the regulation needs to be pinpointed.
In keeping with the Supreme Court precedent, the proposed update to the code would extend that open house exemption to all temporary commercial signs.
There will be more public hearings on the Title X code rewrite before the City Council votes on it later this fall. I'm your Twin Falls neighborhood reporter, Lori in Nettleton, Idaho News 6.
We highlight the team effort in a dynamic rescue in the canyon on the South Fork of the Payette River.
Idaho Back Roads, brought to you by Treasure Valley Subaru.
On Tuesday, Boise County first responders rescued a rafter out of the canyon on the South Fork of the Payette River. I'm your Idaho Backroads neighborhood reporter, Steve Dent, and I highlight this team effort and what boaters need to know before taking on this Class 4 stretch with a portage. The canyon is one of my favorite runs because it features some really fun whitewater, and it also has a wilderness feel because in most places the road sits so far above the river.
Any lines are so good here.
I did this run on Tuesday with Eric Tucker.
It's definitely not for beginners. It's pretty challenging. It's also really fun. You got really good water quality. Lots of really fun rapids. One cool thing is that you kind of get away from the road. There's some really, really stunning scenery down there.
That came into play later in the day on Tuesday when the Boise County Sheriff's Office, Mountain Search and Rescue, Lowman Fire in the Garden Valley Fire District, and EMS all responded to a call for an injured rafter near Big Falls in the canyon.
The first deputy on scene, he just went straight down. No rope, no nothing. He went down to assess her medical condition.
According to Deputy Alan Rice with the Boise County Sheriff's Office, an oar raft with 6 people ran into trouble around Big Falls. 2 children climbed up to the road to get help, as an injured 59-year-old woman with pre-existing medical conditions couldn't hike out, prompting Garden Valley Fire to extract the woman on a backboard.
They were able to strap her into that, and then on the pulley system, they were able to pull her all the way up the side of the mountain.
It's unclear what happened to the group, but Big Falls is a serious hazard where people have drowned by accidentally floating into it, and it's even more dangerous right now because of this log. Both sides of the river have warning signs leading up to this rapid, as boaters need to catch an eddy and walk around the falls.
So the portage is a bit of an adventure. If you're in a raft or if you're in a kayak, you got to get out above Big Falls, which is a really big, dangerous rapid that only a handful of people have ever descended. You're going to get out and kind of carry your craft around, and you're going to have to do some scrambling on rocks, and it's definitely going to be a little challenging.
A group of kayakers caught up to the raft below Blackadar Rapid and tied it off, while raft companies often serve as search and rescue on the river. Bear Valley transported the rest of the group safely off the river as it took a team effort that all contributed to a successful rescue in a dynamic environment.
It was a big spectacle is what it was, in a really, really good way.
Our run finished with Surprise Rapid, but even when you get to either takeout on this run, you have to climb out of the canyon. So it's a stretch where you want to be in good physical shape, and you also want to have multiple boats on a trip.
I'm your Idaho Backroads neighborhood reporter, Steve Dent, for Idaho News 6.
Hey, Treasure Valley, things are heating up this afternoon. Lower 90s are expected, but triple digits are on the horizon. I have all the details you need to know coming up.
For Idaho News 6, I'm senior reporter Don Nilsson. Operation Military Blessings has been helping military families for a long time. But with the help of the Alquist Group, they have now Operation Babies, Bottles, and Diapers. Here's how you can help.
When we walk by these magnificent men and women in their uniforms, and we often will say, thank you for serving. Here's an opportunity for us to serve them.
Former Idaho Governor Dirk Kempthorne may be going through cancer treatment, but it won't stop him from coming out and being part of a big announcement. The organization, Operation Military Blessing, is launching a mission to help young military families, a nationwide program that started right here in Idaho. Tommy Ahlquist of Ahlquist Development has partnered with OMB to launch Operation Babies, Bottles, and Diapers.
Well, here's a chance to not just say thank you for your service, but to do something for these families, these younger families that need this desperately. For crying out loud, they're serving our country. It's the least we can do.
According to Operation Military Blessings, 1 out of 8 junior grade military families are on food stamps. How you can help? Go to their website for more information, or next time you go to Topgolf in Meridian, drop off your baby supplies, diapers, wipes, formula, and clothing right next door at the Ahlquist building. You can't miss it.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Hey, happy Friday, everyone. 6:47 is your time right now, and it's Friday morning, which means I can live without a jam. Now, Justin Bieber did release his album last night. I've already listened to it, and yes, my favorite song so far is Daisy, so if you're going to listen to it, that one I think you should listen to first. But we also should listen to some throwbacks from him, so I think we should listen to today, What Do You Mean by Justin Bieber, especially as you take a look at the weather for the weekend. You're going to think, what do you mean it's getting even hotter? Well, for today in the morning, that's not the case. You got temperatures sitting in those mid-60s, so it's nice and cool throughout our mornings, but by the afternoon ahead, we'll be sitting in those lower 90s. Good clear skies throughout the weekend. We're not really tracking any rain, mostly just sunshine and heat. Now, for today, you'll notice temperatures are already on the climb. Some areas and spots taking a little bit slower to get there, but either way, as you head into this afternoon, it is going to be a slightly bit warmer. You've got mid-90s along your valley floors, 87 this afternoon coming in Baker City, mid-80s stretching through the mountains. So the mountains look really good regardless of where you're at, even lower 90s over in Idaho City. And as you take a look at the weekend, not really looking at very many various chances of rain or even clouds. So it's going to be a pretty hot weekend here. We've got a few clouds hanging over to eastern, really Idaho into 5 o'clock this afternoon, but by the time we head into tomorrow, it still remains pretty quiet. We'll see some breezy winds pick up throughout Sunday and even throughout our weekend with gusts about 20 miles per hour. So something just to keep in mind, especially if you're doing any outdoor activities that involve a campfire. We could see that elevated wildfire risk as we head into Saturday afternoon and Sunday. Regardless, there are a few isolated showers over the area into eastern Idaho by Sunday, but overall, it's going to be a quiet weekend, and the main story is going to be heat. Now, as things do heat up, again, here's that reminder, sunscreen is going to be super important, as well as wearing lighter colored clothing. So that and some long sleeves, anything that can really help keep you shaded and give you some protection while the UV's going up. Now, between 2 and 4 o'clock today, you just have 10 minutes outside to burn. So keep that in mind, especially if you're doing a late afternoon or evening walk. And if you are walking with your dog, again, the mornings are the best times to do so because that pavement gets super hot. What's happening is we have this upper level ridge that continues to amplify over us. This increases our heights, and because of this, and in turn, we see temperatures increase through Saturday and Sunday. What happens after that, and what could bring us a little bit relief on Monday, is a weak cold front, but it does look like it's going to really just keep us hovering with those upper 90s. But it is better than those triple digits. Either way, as we head into the back end of July, you'll notice that we don't look at very much change as far as our weather goes. It looks very dry, and it looks to just remain relatively hot. So taking a look at our temperature outlook, this goes all the way to July 17th through the 21st, warmer than normal outlook, but it is different from what we saw last week. We saw instead here a very dark red bullseye, which means we would probably have seen a lot of days with triple digits. Now it looks like maybe more mid-90s to upper 90s, but regardless, the heat is around the corner. 97 upper 90s into Monday and lower 90s by Tuesday and Wednesday. So again, prepare for the heat. I'll keep you up to date right here, but first we're going to go ahead and take a look at your roads.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
Your time right now is 6:51, and as we take a look downtown, it's a nice, clear start to our day. As far as what the roads look like right now, it is a pretty quiet morning commute so far. It is Friday, which is the best commute of the week, but haven't seen too much change so far, especially throughout the week. Right now, we've got 37 minutes from Caldwell into downtown if you're heading eastbound. The rest of the area, there is a little bit of a buildup right now from Caldwell into Garrity, so heads up if you are traveling into Garrity right now. routes at under 20 minutes. Gary to the Eagle just under 7, and Eagle into downtown Boise coming in at under 7 minutes also. So overall, pretty good start to our morning, but I'll continue to keep my eyes on the roads for you. And then here's another look at I-84 off of Broadway.
In this morning's GMA First Look, the urgent search for the killer of Sunshine Sonny Stewart.
Just shocking.
The 48-year-old carpenter went paddleboarding last week on Crawford Pond in rural Maine, but she never returned. Police ruling her death a homicide, a source telling ABC News they still have no suspects. Authorities not publicly releasing details of how Stewart died. A source saying her body was found under unusual circumstances.
Nobody knows anything. Nobody has a clue.
Now, those who knew and loved Stewart speaking out to GMA.
She was just a really honest, hardworking, beautiful inside and out, just a strong woman who brought joy wherever she went.
And coming up at 7 a.m., what one state representative is urging local residents to do. With your GMA First Look, I'm Matt Rivers, ABC News, New York.
Idaho News 6 Allergy Report is brought to you by Boise Valley Asthma and Allergy Clinic.
Okay, your allergy count. They have increased. You'll notice grass, pine, and chenopod both between moderate to low. We're no longer in that low category now, seeing at the moderate. So again, if you're spending some time outdoors this weekend, just make sure you're carrying that allergy medicine. I'll keep you up to date right here throughout our season.
Welcome back to Good Morning Idaho. We're just wrapping up here, and in case you missed it, these are the top stories we're following from our neighborhood reporters. In Garden City, a longtime feral cat colony at the Western Idaho Fairgrounds faces new uncertainty as access for caretakers changes. This while construction of Boise's new professional soccer facility is underway. And on Tuesday afternoon, multiple agencies responded to a call for an injured rafter near Big Falls, and they successfully extracted an injured woman from the canyon. You can learn more about all these stories on our website, idahonews6.com.
Now, the Out the Door forecast, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
6:57 is your time, and happy Friday to you. I hope you're off to a wonderful start this morning. I'm going to recommend some iced coffee, especially as you head out for your morning. By 9 a.m., we'll be touching into those 70s, so it's a nice cooler start to our day. And if you're getting anything done outdoors, the morning times are the time to do so. By the time you head into 1 o'clock, mid-80s, so still good if you want to sit on the patio for lunchtime. But by the later afternoon and evening ahead, 3 to 5 o'clock, lower 90s on the board. Now, we've got plenty of sunshine, and we are not looking at any severe weather for the weekend, but we are going to be looking at triple digits on the horizon. If you want to read more about the forecast, you can head on over to idahonews6.com. Otherwise, it is Friday morning, so let's go take a look at the best commute of the week.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
6:57 is now your time, and if you're getting that early morning start to your day, looks really nice on our roads. I've been watching them all morning long for you, and it's been pretty quiet out there so far. So for my Caldwell commuters, I know I-84 is usually the busiest. It's really quiet and nice right now if you want to get that early start. Carter Road is a little where you're looking at a little bit of buildup if you're heading into that westbound lane, but otherwise relatively quiet, and we are looking at areas of stop and go on Centennial Way, and then also on I-84 as you make your way upward towards Ontario, and if you're making your way into Oregon, just something to keep in mind. Overall, though, downtown, nice smooth start kicking off. Not looking at very much stop and go here. As far as what we look like from Caldwell into downtown itself right now, you've got just under 31 minutes. So nice green start to our Friday morning. Riley, it's Friday, and with things heating up, what are you going to do this weekend to cool down?
Well, I'm going to float the river for the first time. I have some family in town, but I wanted to make note of you wrapping up the community baby shower this week. It was really amazing to see those large checks. We were just talking about my close friend Jordan, who's going to be a first-time mom, and it's crazy to see how much you need when you have a baby coming. And the way our community came out and supported these families was really amazing. Sophia, what was it like, handing those big checks to those families?
Honestly, just the excitement that we got to see from the organization was my favorite part of all of it, and we surpassed our goal of $60,000, Riley.
It's really amazing to see the Treasure Valley community come together in support of other families, but thank you so much for joining us this morning on Good Morning Idaho.